Doing good. Doing
Nice.
good.
Nice.
Yeah. It's my birthday Sunday, so that's
Oh, good for
cool.
you.
Yeah. The
Nice, pal. Shouts to Gary. Gary in the mix. All right, boy.
Gary's in
Shit.
the man, there's a have you seen that new there's a there's a Gerard Carmichael special that just dropped.
Yeah, Castro was telling me today. I gotta go check it out.
Yo.
Is it good?
Gerard's different. Gerard has that thing that like early Chappelle had.
Really?
Like where you know how like Chappelle was like thinking about what he was saying as he was saying it.
Yeah.
He was sitting there thinking, meditating and shit. And it was like
Right.
the jokes didn't matter, the jokes would come.
Uh,
And that's how Gerard feels. It feels like watching Gerard. It's like he's just sitting there with his head down, really thinking about the shit he was talking about, and like
oh, that's cool.
it just comes to him. It's really an amazing thing.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I was watching that Fat Tuesdays documentary after we did the Def Comedy Jam joint, and
Mhm,
watching Cedric the Entertainer, right?
mhm.
It made me realize how much I love that dude. I love
Yep.
Cedric. So I went and watched his last special on Netflix, and it's like it's from right before Trump got elected, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
his fastball is still at like 96. He's killing it, man. I love Cedric. What's up?
What's
SH the
up? SH
OG.
the OG.
Yeah, shouts to
Yeah, I
you.
mean, that was the wild part was like, so I went off in 1999, went to the Army,
Right.
and I was in the Army till whatever '02, and I came back and I had a completely different experience than everybody I knew. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Of course.
Because I was sitting there like drinking, drinking Hennessy, watching Martin Lawrence in the leather outfit. You know what I mean? And they were like working odd jobs to pay for college or just
Right.
sleeping through classes. Like, and I was like, I was sitting there. They're
You
like,
go crazy.
people were like explaining to me what flipping your paycheck for dope money was. How it worked, and I was like, "What?
Yeah, you were
So
living.
you get the paycheck, and then like I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yo, that I'm surprised that's not a Traded Truth song or something.
Duh.
Flipping your
I think
paycheck.
the funniest one, and I hope Gary's still here because this is a classic. So like I go to boot camp
Right.
and these two dudes, Hispanic cats, Latin dudes, and they were just super fucking funny, sneaky funny,
Right.
right? They could do deadpan really fucking great.
Right.
And the one guy like leans in, he goes, "You want me to tell you something, Holmes?" Like what? He's like, "Well, me and that guy are in different gangs and we fucking hate each other.
Right.
I'm gonna get him." And I was just like, "Oh shit," from Maine, I have no idea.
Right.
And they just fucking laughed in my face like 2 minutes later, like, "You're an idiot." I'm like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yo,
I appreciate that."
Mighty Healthy has hopped on or viewed 93% of all IG lives I've participated in. So
Yep.
shout
Ever
out to
present.
IG
Mighty
lives.
healthy, ever present, man. That's the
Impressive, man, and very present. So let's
Yep.
let's let's let's
Yep.
you want to break it down for the people while we're on right now, Friday night.
Ooh. We gotta talk do you wanna go full board? Do you wanna do both Mr. Stephen Grant and Bruce Wayne? Do you want to do or do you
Do it.
want to just
Let's do it.
do Moon Knight?
Everything, man. How we're
Yep.
feeling.
I'm feeling for me, I would go Moon Knight. Let's go Moon Knight first because
Of course.
it's what an incredible. This is a good space for people that are comic book nerds,
Right.
but hip hop heads as well. Um, and for me, honestly, comic book nerd stuff was before
Mhm.
hip hop stuff.
Right.
Like
Mhm.
it was kind of a safe haven, but it was so weird and underground back then.
Mhm.
Like people were ashamed of that shit.
Yeah.
But Moon Knight was always the like kind of dark stepsister of the Marvel universe.
Definitely. 150%.
Do you remember like when it was a recent one that big crossover thing where they killed the Watcher.
Yes.
Aaron did it. Um, he's great.
Jason Aaron?
But Jason Aaron, and like, there's a part Moon Knight pops in, and they're like, "That guy's nuts. I hate him. I don't want to deal with him." Like nobody wanted to deal with him.
They used him for that in like Secret Avengers, and then they did that with him in the Doctor Strange like Midnight Suns, where it's like Doctor Strange Damnation, where like the Vegas turns into hell, and they're like, Moon Knight's real crazy. We don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with this dude.
No. But and in a weird way, I feel like the TV show is a celebration of one of the most important decisions by a colorist ever. Like to just leave it white, just leave it all white.
Right.
And that was just such an incredible decision during that Warren Ellis run to just made it sparkle, made it look like nothing else.
It's not, yeah, like that's. Did you ever read the one Mark Miller book, Nemesis?
Oh, pieces probably. Yeah,
He's like the only. He's like the only drawn character I can remember where like they embrace white, because the whole premise of that book was like they were like, what if Batman was the Joker?
Right.
So you pick a devious, sadistic maniac who's smarter than the police, the Secret Service, the FBI, all that shit. So it's like, that was the last time they made him. Oh, there's Chong. Yo, Chong,
jump in. Let's go.
Yeah, Chong, jump in this joint, man. Panels, what's up? Ralph in the mix. Chong, we're just talking about Moon Knight. Ask to join the joint. Is he coming in?
Is he coming in? Request to join.
Yeah.
Chong Wizard.
Let's do it.
We got people. Let's do it. But no, it's an interesting thing, and I'm watching the preview for this this deal, Moon Knight. I was definitely.
You could stay around.
I was definitely thinking like, holy shit, that's the English accent I do when I want to make my wife mad.
There he is.
That was my vibe. Was like,
nice hat.
Shit, like
nice hat.
Nice hat, man.
There you go.
Looking righteous.
Get it done.
I'll switch it up so we're not total dorks. I'll put on a Decades hat. I have a
East Hampton Polo Boys.
I go hatless.
We're doing it. Oh, look at the pompadour. We got it.
Yeah,
we got it going. The Chongador.
You look like fucking Brad Pitt and Johnny Suede.
Dang.
That's it. That's what the ladies think.
Look at the Decades joint on. There you go.
But no, it's so it was. But I was glad to see that the English accent is kind of a joke. That this character is a made-up character. Mark Spector's kind of the real character, and we're going to kind of get that later on. So I'm excited for where it's going to go.
I thought that was kind of it was smart, because he's like the comic relief almost. Like he's like the nerdy kind of goofy. He's you know what I mean. It's the comic relief where Mark Spector's the serious tough guy. You know what I mean. So it's a cool it's a way for them to actually work in some humor, I think, into it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Shout out to the flowing hair of Ethan Hawke.
It's kind of grossing me out. I'm like, it's
flowing. It's flowing.
It's like an unhealthy flow where it's like
it doesn't look that good. No.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to make him look like on some Osho cult leader dude from Innocent Country.
Like a cult leader.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he looks like that person in high school who new people gravitate to, but everybody who's in the school knows
RZA.
Everybody who messes with that person is done. Is cooked.
He's the RZA. He's the RZA, bro.
Yep. That's crazy.
That's all. He's basically extolling to them all the virtues of joining Wu-Tang Productions and signing away their life forever.
Maybe he's a little more Jermaine Dupri. You know what I mean? Maybe he's a little more in that realm.
He'll make you hot for one single, one album. You know what I mean? And then you're cooked. Fuck away.
Yep, and he'll brag about it the rest of his career. He'll be like 20 years later being like, I chose those pants and told him to wear them backwards. Like he's, boy, do I not like Jermaine Dupri.
What was the name? Oh, Jaquan. Shouts to Jaquan. Chong, how many times did you play Jaquan at a party or a
Was I getting tipsy?
Yeah. No, yeah. Everybody in the club get tipsy.
Oh yeah, I mean you had to back then. I mean,
yeah,
that was the thing. It was like there was some of those like 50 Cent in the club. There was some of those, and like a lot of those.
One, here comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4.
Cheeky, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Juvenile, back that ass up.
Get tipsy.
Club songs you have to play, like you know what I mean? Like,
oof. I had a. Oh man, that was a big thing. So Juvenile, back that ass up. I have a personal story behind that. That song triggers me a little bit because I was in advanced training after boot camp. I was still engaged to a lady from high school, but I knew it wasn't going to work out secretly. You know what I mean? But I would never cheat on anyone. I'm not a cheater. But one of the most beautiful women that I've ever encountered was like the leader of our platoon, and she had a huge crush on me. It didn't even make sense.
Right.
And she was like, let's dance to get that ass up. And I'm like, I'm engaged, and that's a weird origin story anyway for us. Like if if this kicked it off and we were like, Back That Ass Up was playing, and that's when we found each other. Like, I don't know. I can't do that.
And you're like, and son, when I heard Juvenile say Cash Money taking over, I knew she was the one for me.
I knew she was it. I was looking into her eyes, and I was like, I get it, Juvie. Yeah, 500 degrees.
Yeah, that works.
Yep.
Dan, while Chong's here, do you want to talk Batman?
Ooh, I'm into it.
Let's do it. We're recording this anyway.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that, the two of it, it's interesting to contrast it because I really admire what Marvel's done with the TV shows and like trying to make it clean and clear and representative of what it is. Like, I didn't like Scarlet Witch, but that's because I've never liked the character Scarlet Witch. I was like, this is exactly why I hate this character, but well done on the show.
The show's fire. Yeah.
The show's fire, but I hate that character and always have, and that show is a great representation of why. But yeah, Moon Knight. I'm very hopeful about it. I'm very interested in it. But the Batman movie was hell. I've been calling it the best written Batman movie of all time.
I agree. It is.
I think the way it was like shot and like just the quality of the like movie making of it was like what stood out to me was like. In the past, a lot of it revolved around like the action and the actual like acting. This one, like they had a great cast, but I didn't even really think about the acting. It was just so gripping, and the like the cinematography, the sound design, like it was intense, man. Like it was just like it reminded me of Dune from like a few months back. That same
that's good.
Same guy filmed it.
Man, they really
same dude filmed it, bro. Same guy.
That's awesome.
Same guy.
Good eyes.
Because it was intense, both of them, and I was like I could feel like in the theater, like my heart pounding, like it was like a roller coaster. Like it had that kind of like gripping kind of, you know what I mean? That's new to me for theater.
Yeah.
You go to a fun movie in the past, but I think like the cinematography and the sound they're doing now, like the sound was so loud. I don't know about the theaters you guys were in, but like that shit was so loud. It was intense. I felt like my ears hurt after that movie, man.
Oh, I saw them.
Shout out to SH the OG who just said the dialogue, right? Good.
Crazy.
The dialogue is very good, but there's one character who didn't really fit the movie, and I kind of loved it. Yeah. I love that kind of thing where the movie's really tight in a tight universe, and there's one nutball just kind of floating in the middle of it, and that was the Penguin.
Whoa.
The Penguin was going ham on
he was
that
like the
scene.
comedy relief. He was like the comedy relief in the movie.
Yeah,
because everyone else is just not, not funny at all.
He did a good job. He did a good job, man. Colin Farrell was good.
He was yelling everything. But they did a great job. That moment, spoilers for all that shit. The moment where he breaks down, like what do you guys not know Spanish? Like that whole shit?
Yeah,
That was like,
crazy.
that was so great because it turned the loud penguin into, I'm not dumb, or you guys are dumb. Like,
Right. Yes.
that was fun. That was cool.
Yeah, that was ill. I think after seeing that movie, I was like, I think Pattinson is the best Batman. And I think Bale is the best Bruce Wayne. Does that make sense?
That's what me and my wife were talking about. I was like, because I was saying like when somebody's Batman, you don't really. It's just a guy in a suit, so it almost
just the jaw.
It's really comes down to who plays the best Bruce Wayne, and I think you're right. I think the best Bruce Wayne. Me and my wife said, yeah, Bale he killed Bruce Wayne. He really. It was weird. Pattinson was kind of like a young, like, emo Bruce Wayne, which I don't think I've seen like a young emo Bruce Wayne before, which was weird. It was interesting. It was different, right? It wasn't like Playboy billionaire. It was like, I'm kind of like this like broken fucking young man. Like,
and it was weird because I felt like a lot of the problems Bale had as Batman were problems Batman has just period. Right? Like, so like one of the things was I really didn't believe any love story that had Bale involved in the Batman movies.
Yeah.
I was kind of like,
I believed him when the first one, when he's pretending to be like the drunken Lothario, and he's coming out of the pool, out of water at the restaurant after he buys it.
Awesome.
With the two chicks, he's got like the Lambo and then he bumps into what's her name, Katie Holmes, and he's like, he has to snap out of that, being like, oh hey, like there's more to me, like this is just a thing, and she's like, nah, you're just some paparazzi asshole, dude, like
straight up, man.
And then, but in that moment, he's like, I have to commit to this shit to throw everybody off. But in the second one, when it's Maggie Gyllenhaal, who I think's a fucking great actress,
amazing.
She felt like a better character,
but
they didn't have chemistry. You know what I mean?
No, it felt like it, you know, and Batman really doesn't have a lot of good chemistry with a lot of like women. Is this what it is? Like the character's so focused on what the character's doing that it doesn't. So I think those problems carried over. I think Keaton might still be my favorite Bruce Wayne.
I love Keaton, man. I love
that scene.
The one line that really with Keaton for me, he's like, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." I just love that fucking.
I love that.
I mean,
come on,
Keaton energy right there. That's Keaton.
It's like him.
Yeah, that whole scene when Nicholson as the Joker has him cornered as Bruce Wayne, and he's got the dish under the thing, and like I think that's excellent, and he's a great Bruce Wayne. But this movie didn't really care about Bruce Wayne at all, and it made sense.
He's in it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Because I think he was like awkward as Bruce Wayne. It just didn't seem like a typical Bruce Wayne, which is good because they went a different direction. The whole movie was just a different vibe.
The movie posits that he became Batman before he became Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And did you notice too, when he's Bruce Wayne, his clothes are bigger? Like he's real small.
Yeah.
When he's small. Bruce Wayne, like he's kind of hunched over, and like his suit and shirt's like a half size too big. Like he looks like a kid pretending to be an adult.
It was kind of weird. Like it made it hard to believe that he was beating anyone up because he looks so skinny. Like he didn't have power behind those kind of punches. You know what I mean? Like.
Yep.
But.
No, it's crazy. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he definitely had that look, but and I know Zoe Kravitz is in a bunch of trouble for saying a lot of weird shit, I guess.
She was,
she was amazing. She was amazing. I'm a huge fan. Yeah.
She was the realest Catwoman. Like Pfeiffer is like
is
in a different level of existence just because it's so over the top.
Yeah.
But Zoe Kravitz was Selena Kyle, like who could have this connection with him, and you know, and she's not like a fantastical. She doesn't have like crazy powers, but she's like she knows what the fuck she's doing.
I really like his name is Falcone too. What was John
Turturro?
Yeah, Turturro. Yeah. He did a good job. And it was weird. I noticed they really gave a lot of background on a lot of characters in this one. Usually it's like, oh, he's just a mobster, and you don't hear anything about them. There's no backstory. Everyone felt like they had a backstory in this one.
Even Peter Sarsgaard, the crooked ass attorney.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a whole 10-minute thing with just him.
Yeah.
Yep. No, SH the OG, great point. The detective side was more present in this movie, and but that's the Riddler's one of my favorite bad guys, and it's because I started to realize it, because I think about this shit from a writer's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And great writers get the Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
Great writers are interested in the Riddler and teasing the Riddler out more.
Mm-hmm.
But on the periphery, he doesn't give you immediate payoff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's not. You've got to construct it around it. So the detective story made a lot of sense with the Riddler, and you could see that. I guess I've been watching a lot of Batman the Animated Series, right? And just being fuck, they really got it. They really understood what the characters were doing.
It really felt real, though, too. There could literally be one of those guys that, just is fucking, kind of a nerd that's taken shit his whole life, that's just fed up with it, and, goes on the dark web and, you know what I mean, has these, sick followers, and that shit's so believable. That's what kind of gave it that real it felt like a psychological horror thriller. It felt like that movie Seven almost.
That's the whole movie. It was Seven. It was Batman inside of Seven.
Yeah.
Because even in Seven, it's raining all the time. This movie was fucking raining nonstop.
And the pacing was similar. They're constantly just behind the bad guy, trying to figure out what his next move was the whole time. Just failing each time.
Yep. Pacing was the big shock for me, right? I was ready. I was prepared myself for a really slow movie.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I was getting. It was a really slow, long, True Detective. True Detective has a bunch of kind of long shots where you're just looking at a styrofoam cup evocatively, or people are smoking evocatively. And
it to me until about the last.
This was
45, the last 45 minutes was I started just feeling it just felt long. I mean, it wasn't necessarily bad, but it was just this is dragging on a bit. After they arrested him and everything like that, it was long-winded, but
even in Seven, when they arrest John Doe, there's another half hour of that movie.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. It's not we got him, it's over. Figure it out.
Yeah, they had to add that. They had to extend it and have a resolution, right? It couldn't just be arresting. It wasn't over.
And that scene inside Arkham is so good with Paul Dano. And just I loved Paul Dano's performance. It might be my favorite performance in the movie. I've just become my sister beat me to this. My sister is a diehard Dano fan. I think it was the Beach Boys movie that got me on board. Oh shit, okay, I got this. This
Beach Boys movie. I don't think I saw that. What's that?
Yeah.
Isn't there one with John Cusack? Is that Brian Wilson?
John Cusack is the older Brian Wilson.
Oh yeah.
And Paul Dano is the younger Brian Wilson.
Oh shit.
Okay, I got to
nice.
I got to see that.
Paul Dano is considerably better, but. It's nothing wrong with Cusack. Cusack just does the Rex Harrison thing, and it's kind of I imagine him as me, So that's awesome. Go ahead.
Was it worth watching though? Was it a good?
Oh, it's a good movie. Good movie. Okay. Yes, definitely quality, worth watching. But because it's a different story. It's not just his come up and there's a specific. Brian Wilson had some weird shit that happened to him later on in life. That's really interesting. And should be talked about more. So, but yeah, Paul Dano, the commitment level is high. Really good. Pattinson looks really good in the suit. You know what I mean?
You know what else I thought was interesting too about his Batman? That's why I think he's the best Batman. Is he had the high intelligence of solving the riddles right away, which is classic Batman. Cool. Then he looked the best fighting because he has the most functional suit.
Yeah.
of any Batmans. Even like Bale was always kind of like hunched over, and he was always just kind of like moving his arms like this. Yeah. Like he really didn't look like he could like swing an uppercut and like block somebody and then do a side kick and do a flip. Whereas Pattinson has like tactical gear that's like joints and things can move. And then he also was like he had everything was like functional on him. You know what I mean? Like he even had like the OG like leg thing, like the shit, like almost like cable, like the leg brace, like you know what I mean, like the. Because you would need that. You would need to have like on your right hand side. It can't even be on your belt. You got to have some. You know what I mean? Like,
interesting how his technology wasn't quite there yet either. Though when he did that whole like skydiving type thing, and he I don't know how he got up and walked away from that shit. It was like you fucking. I
love that, man. Yo, I love. You know what I liked about that moment?
The Batmobile was crazy because it didn't like you couldn't even see it really what it was. It was just like fucking crazy ass
like a flying squirrel suit and shit. I like you brought that part up, Chong, because when that part of the movie, think about this, because it's, he's only been doing it for a couple of years. He's probably like 28 years old. Mm-hmm. When he's being chased and he opens up that door and he fucking like freaks out because he's like high up on a building and he's like, he's like scared. Like you've never seen fucking Batman scared on top of a building. That shit was great. I was like, oh shit, like he's a mess. Like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Right. No, he's like he knows what he's doing 70% of the time, but not all the time. And that's interesting to watch. That's genuinely interesting.
He wasn't like as cool, calm, and collected. He was definitely cold blooded at times, like when in his interactions, but definitely during like the action scenes, shit was fucking like it was wild, Mm-hmm. He was out of control. He wasn't like this ZZ, you know what I mean? Like
he got served, bro. He got fucked up a lot.
He did. He got
scene where like he goes into the club the first time and just beats the shit out of all those dudes.
My god!
Like, oh my god! Like that was so good.
Crazy, man.
But even the way that was filmed, like even the way they filmed that shit, like it's funny because right before and right after I saw Batman, my son and I watched Batman Forever and then Batman and Robin. So I saw like all these Batmans in like a week. And so the way other people would have, those goofy ass movies, him being a club, it had like all the bad guys that had like themed costumes, they fucking like neon green and like red. And when he walked in that bitch, it was like this, it felt like he was in a club. Like it was disorienting. Like it was loud and there was like strobe lights and you couldn't really see what was happening. Yeah. And it's like that's how it feels when you go in a big ass warehouse club. It's like very overwhelming and shit.
Yeah. Yep. Sure. Yeah. No, it was good. It was part of what I think, because I was thinking about like what do I want out of Batman at this point. One of the first things I was thinking about, I want them to make me earn the Joker.
Yes. That's why I love Batman Begins. You don't get Joker in Batman Begins.
No. You gotta earn Joker. You gotta earn Joker. You get like they keep throwing Joker at us, and it gets boring, right? Like you've got to take advantage of it. And I think, like, obviously you can say Marvel's done better with it, but let's be honest, they did better with it because they were going bankrupt and they sold all their properties, and they couldn't use them. So they had to get creative, right? Yeah. They had to get creative. If they had Spider-Man, there's no way we get a Guardians movie. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, you know what it's like, dude? It's like the Joker shit, it's bankable, right? Because he's the most famous fucking superhero villain to regular ass people in the last 50 years, right? And as an actor, you're like, oh, that's a high profile look for me, and I'll do my, Jared Leto looking like Lil Pump or some shit, right? But when you you're right. If what it also does is it pushes everybody else down the pecking order in the Batman world, where it's like we don't have Clayface still, we don't have Hush, and there's so many cool, really weird villains. And in the Batman Lego movie, when they were showing like Condiment King, Calendar Man, you're like, this dude really has 50 fucking villains, and 40 are ridiculous. There you go.
You guys
know, man.
Arkham City. You know what I mean? But it's like
it was fucking surprisingly really dope miniseries because There's no Batman in it. It's fucking like random like no name like villains like have escaped from Arkham, and fucking there's this one like doctor from Arkham trying to like save them or something, and like it's bizarre and weird. The art's weird.
That's cool.
What's it called? I never read that joint. What's it called?
It's Arkham City: The Order of the World. It just ended. Like it's a 6-issue miniseries.
Oh, I gotta peep that joint.
Yep.
I gotta peep that
Weird. It's the right kind of weird.
Yeah.
It was like if David Lynch got to do like a Batman movie, that would be it. Like,
Word.
Batman wouldn't even be in it. Like,
Oh, that'd be awesome. Did you ever read you guys read like GCPD? The Gotham
no.
joint?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to. That's the one with Brubaker, right?
Yes.
Brubaker and Rucka teamed up on it.
Yes.
Yes.
To where like that would be such an incredible show where it's a cop procedural, and then Batman pops up like every 40 minutes where he's like breaking into the police evidence room, and they turn the light on as he's like walking out, and that's all you see. You know what I mean? Like, so they're basically trying to beat him to solve crimes and shit. But then it shows like the hard drinking detectives that are burned out and dealing with the violence, and Batman not having to play by the rules and getting all the acclaim, but they're the ones banging out the paperwork and working 80 hours and shit. Yeah, it's a fucking awesome book. Like, that would be an awesome show, not like Pennyworth or all these other fucking shows they keep cranking out for Batman.
Yeah. No. I mean, they keep. Well, that's the thing is, like, you think those shows are kind of goofy, easy to do, and whatever. But like the shows that Marvel's doing, they kind of take some concentration, so they make a little less of them. But it's so weird because there's so many characters that I feel like are just underutilized, just flat out underutilized.
Right.
And it's odd, but like there's a bunch of mini rants in there. What characters would you guys like to see more heavily showcased in these Batman movies?
I want to see Damian, bro.
Damian, let's go.
Damian's a psychopath because now you're really showing like, okay, all the people that go to Batman movies that want to see like the violent, vengeful, raging, I'm here to terrorize people and shit. Damian really is like, oh, you really want to see that? Okay, I can do that. Yep. Where Bruce is always like, God damn, Damian, like, you're gonna kill somebody. He's like, yeah, why don't we just kill them? Like, they're criminals. Let's fucking murder them. And Bruce is always like, oh shit. Like, it makes Bruce have to come to grips with like, maybe I don't have the best ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just Robin in general. That would be dope if they did something good with that character, because there's stories out there, and there's definitely different versions of Robins, all the different Robins. Damian's a great one, because you're right. That's a good angle of like, you could have like old man Bruce Wayne who can't control the fucking young Damian.
Yeah, he's like the Omen.
So.
Well, I had one on my list related to, very similar to Damian as you're describing. I was like, wow, Cassandra Cain.
Oh,
you remember Cassandra Cain?
The social.
It's my favorite Batgirl. No, she was the mute daughter of the bounty hunter and the ninja lady Shiva.
Oh, I'm thinking of no. What's her name? The girl who's Catwoman in the books. I mean Batwoman, not Cassandra.
Oh, I know what you mean. She's like but she's like the daughter of a Marine too. Like she's like that mixture, whatever. But yeah, no, she's Batwoman's. Batwoman's dope, great character. But like Cassandra Cain couldn't speak, but was the daughter of Lady Shiva, and like, was it David Cain or somebody? Like he was he was a bounty hunter, like murder for hire. So they like raised her as a fighting machine. She became a Batgirl who couldn't talk but was like slaying shit.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Tynan who does Department of Truth, he did like my favorite Batman book in years, which was this big weird team up book where he had Cassandra Cain and Tim Drake working with like Clayface and it was just all nuts. It was so dope. I love that shit.
Oh,
love that.
Was awesome. I just read that maybe like 3 months ago because it was like Clayface was like reformed.
Fire, so good.
Clayface is fucking.
Clayface is dope. I'll tell you why you can't do Clayface, right? And this is for anybody who is watching these superhero movies. This is shit to think about. Nobody fucking cares about a final scene with a real actor versus a CG monster.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking cares.
That's one of the
I
things
don't
that
care who it
DC
is.
always fucking failed with a lot of those movies. Like, I'd always like that first Wonder Woman with the CG monster at the end.
Oh,
terrible.
CG monster. All those CG monsters were horrible. Like,
They look like
suck.
shit.
Nobody gives a fuck. You've got to minimize that shit.
At least Marvel did it right. They made like Thanos look realistic, even though he was CGI. He looked realistic. He just looked like a giant human, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, and that's you like think about Guardians. When you think about Guardians, one of the first scenes I think about is them all sitting on like the milk crates, just talking shit, getting hyped for the fight, like human moments, right? That's what ground that. But like they were like, we'll grab Doomsday and have him fight the Justice League. You're like, it's gonna look awful, you know, and it did.
But see, that's why I loved the Suicide Squad, because Gunn was like Starro, and we're doing it, and he's gonna be neon blue and fucking purple, and in all his ridiculous glory. Like Gunn, to me, he should be in charge of all DC because he leans into, hey, at the end of the day, DC is cheesy. It is not dark. It is not Batman. It is 1950s America, and it's cheesy, corny shit. With a guy with a ring whose power is he can do everything unless you wear yellow, then he can't do anything. Like, how fucking dumb is that? Think about Green Lantern. That's so fucking stupid. But
that is
James
one
Gunn
of
made that a funny thing.
Yeah, that is one of the stupidest things in comics, probably, right? And like, with comic book people, we talk about that a lot. Yellow, like we talk about that a lot.
But like,
really
but if you lean into the cheesiness of it, it makes it endearing, and it gives these people limitations rather than like they're unstoppable. They fight a CG monster, it's over. And that's why I love the Suicide Squad. 'Cause it's like, here's Polka Dot Man versus Starro.
Right.
The stupidest shit in the world. It's great.
And I think DC needs to stop chasing the darkness and being like, we're the darkness, and they need to incorporate more Grant Morrison stories, more weird shit.
Yes.
Give me some weird shit. Give me like Gothic
the thing
or
is, too, is
Arkham Asylum.
You know,
like
they've got to pick the right directors and the right creators, right? Like the people making the movie are the ones that like. That's why I like that Taika Waititi movie with Marvel. That third Thor was just brilliant.
The best.
Amazing.
He's artistic. He's got a vision. You know what I mean? He's weird, and they gave him the green light. You know what I mean? So he could actually execute that weird fucking cool shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
You gotta like Hollywood needs to take more risks with that. I think people are bored with the traditional superhero movies. Like Zilla was talking about how Marvel is getting boring, and he's right. Like it's been formulaic the last few movies, and it's just kind of like it works, but we gotta like start doing different types of movies. And I think like they've done some of that with the TV shows, like the WandaVision. That was different. The approach
Loki's
was way
definitely
different on
weird.
that one, and same with the Loki one. It was super creative. Like the whole vibe of that was a vibe. So they got to get more into that and just lean away from just doing plain ordinary shit. You know what I mean? Like it's boring. You know.
That's my wish for has like all this space shit. You know what I mean? Like they've always tried to make X-Men like in all the Fox movies. It's like, okay, now they're standing for gay people. Now they're standing for like whatever it is. I get it, like the societal connections, but it's like, you know, most of the time X-Men are dealing with Shi'ar and the fucking Brood and all that. Like they're not really even banging on Earth as much as you would want them to be.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they're not even.
Make it weird. You know what I mean? The mutants. I mean, make it like you have such a range of possibilities you can go to. Like it's just.
It's weird.
The problem is,
weird.
The problem is when they want to make something for the masses, it has to be easily digestible. It has to be something that they can like. It feels like normal to them. That's why they keep doing Batman and Spider-Man and brands that they know, and you know what I mean. And it's just kind of like it gets boring, you know. Like they did a good job with the new Batman though, and you know, for the most part, most of the Batman movies over the history have been pretty good. Like first two Tim Burton ones were really good. the trilogy, the whatchamacallit, the Dark Knight
Nolan
trilogy
joints.
was great. Nolan, he killed it, but I didn't like that Batman Superman one at all. And
That was terrible.
Well, nobody did.
Obviously, the
Nobody
Val
did.
Kilmer and Clooney ones were horrible, but other than that, like they seemed to do a pretty good job with the Batman movies.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't even like the Dark Knight Rises. I didn't.
Oh, that
I
one's
didn't
so
like a lot of
dour.
it.
Yeah.
It felt like, and that, by the way, to compare the two, to contrast, this Batman, the Batman, I didn't feel like it ever wasted my time. Everything that happened meant something to what we were watching.
Right.
The Dark Knight Rises, they develop and then shred through like all these different waves of characters to get to the real story. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I get it. There was a big reveal at the end, but what was I doing here for the first hour and a half? Like, why was I even here? You know?
You know what's funny about me too? I don't even consider Dark Knight a Batman movie because it's a Joker movie. Yeah. It's like a Joker Harvey Dent movie. Like Batman's really inconsequential in that. Really. He doesn't he has no memorable scenes. It's all Ledger and Harvey Dent. Really carrying that shit. Which is kind of cool.
By the way, that would be what my recommendation would be. If they pulled me in a room and said, what should you do with the X-Men? I said, you make a solo Sabretooth movie the way you did a Venom movie. And then you tease it coming to Wolverine.
Oh, that's it. Well, and then my idea for Marvel was you do a Doctor Doom movie where you film everything through his point of view, and at the end, the Fantastic Four break into his castle, and then that introduces Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Like, you don't go the other way around. You give all Doom for 2.5 hours of Doom.
Yeah.
To where you're like, oh, this guy has a point. This guy's kind of.
I feel like it's very easy for them to bring him in because, I mean, they're going in that direction, right? They've got that with Kang and Ant-Man and the Fantastic Four. It's right there. He's got to show up in the next wave there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, Chong, that Kang shit, I scooped it off your pictures and recommendations. Yo.
That's
That
dope.
turned out really good. It was funny. I read the first issue and I was kind of like, eh. And then I didn't read the rest of them until all of them had came out, and then I just burned through the last 4 issues or whatever. And I was like, wow, they really went deep with it, like on the whole like meaning of life type shit, and like
that's fire. That's cool.
It was deep, you know what I mean? And that's rare from like Marvel doesn't really do a lot of that deep stuff with their comics these days. I think that's something past that they don't really do anymore. But that was really good.
Does it feel like they made a hard turn to like Squirrel Girl territory?
Yes.
It's like a lot of YA, young adult.
Yeah, Miss Marvel. A lot of Miss Marvel. Yeah.
I think too, like unless you're like a big name writer or creative team, you don't get free reign. Like even with the big writers, I don't know how much free reign they have, because you look at that new Moon Knight series and it's had a few good moments, but it's like I just feel like they're like constricted into being like, you're not allowed to have him do anything important. It's got to be all like just inconsequential, like no name villains. He's just hanging out in the neighborhood. Like it's a throwback to the old Moon Knight of just when he was kind of like a C-list character. And it just feels like, come on, man, aren't you building this character up? Like how are you going to follow this up? Like after we've had the Jeff Lemire run, we've had the Warren Ellis run, and you're giving us this? Like this just seems very like anticlimactic. It's just like, you got the show out right now. Like put your best writers on this shit. You know what I mean? Like stop fucking around.
Yeah, they did. And sometimes Marvel, from a writing editorial standpoint, don't know what they have when they have it. Like there was a writer. He had my favorite recent Punisher run, Nathan Edmondson.
That's just crazy.
He had my favorite Black Widow run, I think before that, right? Like
I read that one
Nathan Edmondson was killing it. Nathan Edmondson was doing Black Widow, turned it over to Mark, whatever his name is there, who does all the
Mark Wade?
Big times. Yes, Wade.
Yeah,
turned it over to Wade.
It was all right. I wasn't like.
It was all right, but Edmondson was like, that shit felt like real espionage shit. Like that was good. So sometimes they don't. I don't know. Sometimes they don't know what they have. You know, Mark Wade. He's a big name, but he doesn't fit this character. He doesn't make sense for this character. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that's like my thing with like people remaking Long Halloween or like that shit. I'm like, do y'all know that Jeff Loeb isn't that good a writer?
He's not, bro. What up? Yeah, Jeff Loeb is not.
He's got a lot of whack shit. Jeff Loeb's got a lot of whack shit.
Dude, I just did
Marvel
his
has really become like, let's just put a really good cover on it. Like, they won't even have the guy who does the cover do the interior art. So like, let's get amazing covers to sell these books, and then fuck, we don't really care about fucking the interiors. Like, we don't care about the interior art. We really don't care about like getting the best writers. Like, most of the best writers are on DC now. Like,
Yep.
Grant Morrison, Jeff Lemire, a lot of those guys are
Tom
either doing
King, dog.
independent.
Yep, Tom King.
Tyrion and King, yeah.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
Tinian, I should say.
Tinian,
They're
yep.
either doing DC or independent or both. Even Ram V's on DC right now.
Ooh,
The
Ram
only
V.
one that got is Hickman, and I haven't really been following the X-Men because it was just too much. Am I
That
missing
shit
out?
was ill.
But too much is Hickman's thing, right? Like
You
he
know what
loves
he's like?
that.
You know what
Yeah.
he's like? He's like Wes Anderson. He likes to catalog and like show all the detail of every single thing
He's a
thought.
world builder.
Yeah,
He's a
like
world
but
builder.
every stick
Right.
of everything, like every fabric, everything is like mapped out, which is kind of cool.
Well, that's what he's doing. Like, I joined his 3 Worlds, 3 Moons Substack, and after like the first few months, I just fell off. And I get like an email every single day about it because they're like that. It's like constant world building and like behind the scenes. Like here's the like how we made it, and here's like, you know what I mean, the whole thing, like the whole creation process. But it's like, I just don't have the time to like invest into that big of a world. Sometimes I just want a great contained story. Like,
Right.
it could be set in a cool world, but sometimes like the world building, like Hickman, that's almost become a problem for him with me, because like his old stuff, like I love some of his old stuff because it's just great story, like innovation and shit. And it's just like, now it's like, man, like you go so big, you don't even finish the thing. And then you're, like, trying to like wrap it up in the last issue, and it's like, this is a really long issue to like wrap up this shit that I fucking got lost in. Like,
Yeah, I think my Hickman issue is related to that. I think it's basically that as brilliant as he is with story, there's no Hickman characters that matter. Like, you know, think about the Manhattan Project, which is one of his best, right? Amazing book. But none of those characters matter. Like, it's just a plot that keeps going.
Yeah.
East to West.
And I
think the dog mattered in the end. I mean,
the dog mattered at the end. That's fair. But there's no like. There isn't a lot of heart in the characters. There isn't.
No.
It's very cold and distant in a lot of ways. Now, the advantage with the X-Men run is Claremont was the opposite, right? When Claremont built the X-Men, they were dripping with personality. So the personality's already built in. Hickman doesn't have to do too much to develop it. It's already there. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I got to go back and read some of that classic Claremont because I don't know how much of it I read as a kid or not. Like,
dude, some of it's brilliant, but some of it is rough. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't really like the Phoenix Saga at all.
I'm exhausted by it, bro. It's like eating your vegetables at this point. I'm like, it's been beaten into my brain so much.
But if you find the relationship shit with Storm and Forge, it's unfucking believable. Unfucking believable, dude. Damn. Like, I think Storm is one of the most important characters.
Oh, dude, Marvel and Fox have fucked that up.
It's serious. Yeah.
Like, think about this, real shit. How in the last 10 years have you not made Storm the go-to costume for every girl in the world?
I mean, the first time I realized that Marvel didn't know what they were doing with Storm was when, do you remember that New Universe thing that they did?
Yeah.
Where they, like, what they did with the, New Avengers and the new whatever.
All different.
They did the new X-Men, and Storm's origin story was that she was like a street kid boosting hubcaps, and I was like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, you're asleep at the wheel. She's an African like fucking princess. Like God,
Well,
like
that's the
get
thing.
fuck
The thing
outta
with
here,
Hickman on this new the last couple of years of the Hickman run and the new X-Men shit, where they're like, oh, actually, she's in charge of Mars. That's fucking
Dang.
cool. She's like, I'm in charge of this shit. I run a planet. Like they gave
Yep.
her juice, you know what I mean? And then she sits at the council, and then she looks like she's like styled like Beyonce on tour. She looks crazy. I was like, yo, this is dope.
Yep.
Yeah, but they've
No,
always,
I'm with it. I mean,
which
they've
one's
only,
that?
but so to oh shit,
Oh, bro, yo, I'm only 2 issues in. I love that shit.
Oh my God!
I love it.
Hey, what is this? What is
Human
this?
Target.
Christ,
Human Target.
like,
Oh, Human Target. Okay, Human
obviously
Target.
Greg Smallwood just destroying it. Like,
Small
oh
was the
my
best.
God, like,
Small was the best.
it's one of the best things I've read in years. I mean, it's
Tom
it's
King,
up
bro.
there with Department of Truth, man.
Tom King, man.
Tom King, man. I think my favorite Tom King.
He doesn't miss. Like he's always.
Yeah.
I haven't read.
I think my favorite Tom
I didn't
King
read-
is
I didn't
is
read his
Mr.
Batman
Miracle.
Run, like the whole Batman run. I read like an issue or 2 here and there, but like all the miniseries he's done with the weird characters.
Oof.
The Vision book. Holy shit.
Vision, Mr. Miracle.
Mr. Miracle's my favorite. That is my Mr. Miracle's my favorite. I was like Tom King is the opposite of Hickman. Like he will get you emotionally attached to everything, and he gets the characters. When the whole arc with Catwoman and Batman almost getting married.
Well, he's the
was just like
of the
you
family,
get that shit.
Of the
It's
family
great.
relationship, the love relationship. He
Oh,
really puts like real
talk
life
that.
stuff. Like it's not just like cookie cutter love story. He's like he brings the realness to it. I mean, one of my favorite issues is that Mr. Miracle one where they go like furniture shopping or something, and it's just like.
Is that the one with like the long hug and shit? The long hug that he gives? It's amazing.
Reread it.
I love that shit.
Reading it the way they made it, and it was almost like they were going through an IKEA or something, and it was just so like real. You know what I mean? Like anyone who's really been in that kind of relationship, like where you're furniture shopping together, could relate to that. Like it was just
beautiful. Beautiful.
Mr. Miracle is I think that's Isaiah Rashad's favorite comic book hero.
And the thing is weird is like when we're sitting here talking about this, who does that? Like who writes like a whole comic book about furniture shopping like with their wife or whatever? It just makes like nobody.
I mean, I think
it's just insane, you know what I mean?
the real innovators. The real innovators of the form will do some shit like Matt Fraction Pizza Dog comes to mind, right?
I literally was gonna say that shit. The Matt Fraction Pizza Dog. When I finished that issue, I was like, this is what it must feel like people in the '60s to hear Hendrix for the first time. You're like,
straight up, man, crazy.
That shit is amazing.
Reading that run, oh, beautiful. That Hickman run.
I haven't read that. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
Any of it?
Not yet.
Oh, you got to do it.
Please,
you got to jump in.
Because I don't want to spoil anything, but it's like basically just about like conspiracy theories and propaganda, and like it's so the way they approach it is just so genius, and every issue it's they don't miss, and it's like how. Like usually shit starts to falter, but it's like 17 issues in and it's still
Department of Truth.
Every time it's Lemire. I mean,
he's a god.
No, it's not Lemire. It's
Tynion.
It's Tynion. Yeah, Tynion. The thing about Tynion is like Tynion is anti loose ends, right? There's no loose ends in any Tynion shit. Everything makes sense. Everything has to make sense. So if he gets into a weird concept, it's going to be airtight. It's almost like Kurt Busiek. You remember that fucking when he did that Astro City shit, and he's like, "I'm gonna build a world, and it's gonna keep building, and it's gonna get weird, but there's never gonna be a flaw in that shit. Never." Like
it's
that's
weird though, because it's almost
amazing.
like it's almost like historical fiction, but it's also it's also like real, and like I don't know. It's conceptually, it's just brilliant. You know what I mean?
It really is.
It's rare that a comic is that good. Like it's that and Human Target are by far my favorites right now. This has been pretty decent. I haven't read this or the last.
What's that called?
Time Before Time. It's decent.
Time Before Time.
It's kind of like a time traveling kind of jam. Cool.
No, but I was there's so, and Batman wise, because I'm reading the not the White Knight, but the one that follows that. Do you know
I stand the White Knight series? I have them all, and I almost want to just sell them because they're just so bad. Like
it went off the rails really bad on the second one, and it got really weird, and Harley Quinn is pregnant.
A lot of people kind of bash that creator, that guy. I don't know what he did to piss people off. I can't remember if it was some scumbag shit or he's just a scumbag or something. But the other thing was like I read he did the art for Tokyo Ghost.
He's a very good artist.
That was with Rick Remender, and that was before he went to White Knight. And basically, White Knight is like the same exact story and almost the same art because he's the same artist. It's like the same art and same story, but with the Batman characters as Tokyo Ghost. Like, go read Tokyo Ghost and then read the first White Knight series and tell me I'm
wow.
You know what I mean?
That's wild.
He's like, oh, this is how Rick Remender did it. I'll just do this. Like, I'll do the art and I'll write the story.
Oh my god.
Same damn shit. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. But there's a lot of problems with that and with that series. And I think one of the big problems is like patience, If there's a temptation to make a big splashy thing, I'm going to kill Commissioner Gordon, right? Like you got to be patient. You got to buy your time. You got to build the world. And yeah, this one was good and it built the world. I don't want the next movie to be a Joker movie. I still want other shit. I'd really like Poison Ivy to get a legit shot.
Yeah, I think they could really do like a really sexy Poison Ivy where she's just like controlling dudes with controlling their minds. You know what I mean? Like I could see her like really on some like seductive, like just like cruel, like seductiveness. You know what I mean? I could see her doing some shit like that, like.
Well, I can assure you, as the person who watched Batman and Robin a couple weeks back with Uma
they tried
Thurman,
that.
Oh my God, she is so. It's not even Uma's fault. It's just such. It's so embarrassing. I mean, they wrote it. Put it this way: watching it with a 6-year-old, he's all about it. He loves. He's like, this is cool. So it works. Like he wanted to see the new Batman movie, and me and my stepfather saw it. We were like, he needs to be like at least 18 years old to see it because it's just not interesting,
right?
And it's heavy and violent.
That's too intense for.
Yeah, for sure, right? But then we watched like the last couple of days. We were watching Infinity War, we watched Endgame, and then we watched the airport scene in Civil War. So like he can handle that type of stuff, but outside of the Clooney, Val Kilmer Batmans, he can't deal with it at all. But when you see Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, and it's just like these elaborate costumes, and she's like, "Come here, give me a kiss, Batman, baby!" Like it's so fucking painful and corny. It's so weak, bro. Oh my god.
Okay.
Well, but it doesn't. It could be seductive, but there's a lot of different ways to go with it. There's an animated show with Harley and Quinn. Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and Poison Ivy is so interesting in that. I love that shit.
Violent.
Oh my
god,
god,
so violent, man.
So violent, so crazy, but it's so good. And the way Poison Ivy is done in that show is so interesting. There's a lot of great, there's a lot of angles you can go in. It's a very interesting character, and really, like, I remember there was a Batman animated series episode where she was like trying to kill the terrible developer shredding the rainforest or whatever.
Oh, yes.
And then Batman locks her up, and after it shows like Robin watching the TV as it announces that like Wayne Industries has stepped in and stopped the rainforest from getting smashed. And I'm like, well, you kind of owe Poison Ivy a little bit of a, salute. Like, she was extreme with it, but she brought you a real issue, like, what's up? Yeah. Like she's got legit concerns. I would like to see that legitimately done. Who is the lady? I'm trying to think about it. With that Sorkin movie about the gambling thing.
Which one was that?
Molly's Game. That one?
Yes,
I didn't see
yes.
that joint.
The lady from Molly's Game, Jessica
Chastain?
Yeah.
She would be, Chastain is who I wanted to be Black Widow, not Scarlet.
Oh,
Because Chastain's a bad bitch. Like she has like there's like when you look at her
Attitude.
and you see the role she plays, you're like, I don't know if she's killed someone, but if she did, I wouldn't be shocked. But like, whereas Scarlett Johansson's like, hey, it's me, Natasha. I'm from Russia. It's me. I'm like,
right.
Nothing about you is like Natasha Romanoff. That never has been, except for and once the White Widow showed up, played by Homegirl from Midsummer, I was like, that's fucking Black Widow. This bitch is crazy. She's cutthroat. She can convince people to do things. She'll kill someone like without even blinking. What's her name?
Margot was better towards the beginning, like the first few times she was in movies. So I think she got worse as she aged.
She did. Florence Pugh is
Florence Pugh.
She is Black Widow.
She killed it. And she was great in Hawkeye too. She added some
incredible. Incredible.
No, she was in the show called Little Drummer Boy. It was like this AMC miniseries, and every single shot of that miniseries was the most beautifully thing I'd seen on television. Every frame. It's like it's kind of like a slow spy series, and she was in it. She's kind of like the fish out of water caught up in a spy thing. Yeah. So I saw her in that. And I was like, oh, she's pretty good. And then everything I've seen her in, she gets better and better. She's incredible.
Midsummer, because I've been fronting on that because I just Hereditary was just too much for me, and I was like, I don't know if I can.
Oh, I love it, man. Hereditary is my favorite horror movie of the last 10 years, bro.
No,
shit!
It was too much for me.
I loved it, bro. Midsummer is not as good, but Midsummer is like 2 horror movies in one. Okay. So the first 15 minutes is like one horror movie, and the rest of the movie is it's a totally different horror movie. I would check it out.
I keep seeing it on Netflix, and I keep clicking past it. Like, I gotta watch this eventually.
It's cool.
And the weird thing that came to mind when you're talking about Natasha shouldn't be Black Widow, that she shouldn't be ScarJo shouldn't be Black Widow. I think I might have told you this before, but I had that same reaction with your boy as Wolverine. Hugh Jackman.
Oh, back in the day. Hell yeah.
This is wild. The 2000, he comes out as Wolverine, and I turned to my people and I said, nah, he's a dancer. He should be on Broadway. He should be on Broadway. He's not. Yeah. He doesn't scare me at all. Like, there's nothing in him that intimidates me. I don't care how muscular he gets.
He got better as the movie.
He worked hard. He
did a good job.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, I never bought it. And then so he comes out on the Tony Awards, right? And he's dancing and all that shit. My wife's like, look. And I said, yeah, I know. I told you. Like, that's who that dude is. That's who that dude is.
I've seen him in some stuff, and I couldn't believe how good he was at actual acting when you start seeing him.
He's a very, very good actor.
Prisoners or whatever.
Did you ever see Prisoners with him? Holy shit.
Actually, I think I saw that one. Is that the
Paul Dano? Paul Dano's in that. Terrence Howard.
The people buried in the backyard, right? Is that the one?
Melissa Leo, yup. Dennis Villeneuve.
Melissa Leo is dope.
That movie is fucking awesome. And he's amazing. That's like the best thing he's ever done. Outside of Wolverine. Yeah, I fuck with that.
But no, he's a great actor, but I just never bought him as Wolverine for the reasons you're listing with ScarJo. Like, there's people that intimidate you, and there's people who just don't, who just can't ever. You know,
thing, though, is it's weird. That X-Men, they weren't really going for that, though. You know what I mean? You see that?
I know.
They just trying to make him a hero. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. I honestly, I think what they were going for the same thing everyone's going for, which is, Sentinels. That's interesting. Right. Like, well, let's get some Sentinels. Let's talk about hate, and that's it. They're done. They don't. There's no depth. There's no world build. They're just like Sentinels, robots, government. Yeah. Let's do it. You know, and they just keep doing that shit. It's weird.
Yeah, that shit's tough. But boys, I'm gonna wrap it up on my end because I've had a long ass day being a dad. But